Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. I am standing on a yoga mat. If you are without one, don't worry. You can find a place in your house that's carpeted, or maybe you've got a rug that can act as your yoga mat for today. I also have a couple of yoga blocks you're welcome to use as a substitute, thick books, and last but not least, a folded blanket. The throw blanket from your sofa is perfect, or a big beach towel will be great. Once you have those, we'll actually start seated on our heels, or perhaps on one of your thick books or blocks in between your heels. Your palms can go up or down, resting on your lap. Let's find a place where we can stop so that we can start. You're seated tall. You bring your awareness to your breath. If doable, in and out through your nose, but if that's not happening, all I ask is that you bring awareness to your breathing, however it is that you're doing it. We take this seat to turn the arrows of attention inward instead of distractedly outward. 3 silent moments to land together here. Come off of your perch and bring yourself onto hands and knees and into cat-cow. So hands, wrists underneath shoulders. If you want padding underneath your knees, your folded blanket can go under your knees. And we will just arch our back, lifting your tailbone, and round by tucking your tailbone. We'll go back and forth a few times like that. So you're oomping into your arms, you're arching your low back and rounding your low back by movements through your pelvis. Let's take just a few more back and forths here. And then we'll pause. Take your right arm up to the sky and then swoop it underneath you and arrive on your right shoulder and the right outside of your face. You could come up to your left fingertips. We'll take a few moments in this little twisty stretch. And then back onto all fours and a few rounds of that cat-cow, arching your low back, tailbone to the sky, rounding and tucking that tailbone. Go back and forth. If your tempo is a bit different from mine, that's great. Now take one more arch and one more round. Stay here in the center, left arm to the sky, and then it swoops underneath you and you come onto your left shoulder, the outside of the left side of your head. And we pause here and breathe. And then unswoop yourself from this side and come onto all fours. Once again, arching your low back and rounding your low back. Going back and forth in that cat-cow. Arching your back, curl your toes under, take yourself to our first down dog of the day. Now, imagine a hook in your tailbone that's pulling you off of your arms. Spread your hands wide. I like to keep a bend in my knees, and my feet are a little wider than hip distance right now as I get started. Priority is that hook in our tailbone and the length through our spine, and then empty out and walk your feet forward to your hands. Be hip distance with your feet. Take your hands onto your ankles or shins, maybe even up to your thighs. Give yourself an inhale. Feel that it's a hinge at your hip and an elongation through your spine. Exhale, fold in, but keep the length in your spine. Your hands can stay on your thighs or slide to your shins or to your ankles. And then slowly with a firm belly, inhale, rise, reach thumbs to the sky, V shape. Stand in your mountain, palms face out, hip distance with our feet, and a little buffer of a gentle bend in our knees. Our mountain pose is the bedrock of all poses, so let's stay here and feel it for a moment, building it from the ground up. So there's a feeling of an evenness in both feet as best as you can arrive at. Just like you are creating an evenness to your breath. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs, to your shins, to your ankles. And then inhale, uplift your heart. As you fold in, bend your knees deeply and place your palms flat on your mat so we can walk back to that downward facing dog that we did. Spread your hands wide so that it feels almost like you're in wet mud and you're leaving a full imprint of both of your hands in your mud. Shift it to a plank, shoulders over your wrists. Stay in plank, but bring your knees to your mat. So your knees are further back in space than when we were on our hands and knees and doing our cat-cow. Oomph into your arms so that you don't collapse into your shoulders, and feel your low belly lift. You'd like to try to direct your shoulders over your wrists the whole time. Shift a bit forward and very slowly, with your elbows brushing your ribs, lower all the way onto your belly. And once you're there, uncurl your toes so you can press the tops of your feet into your mat. And bring your forearms onto your mat parallel to the long edges. Traction your elbows towards you as if drawing your chest through the gateway of your arms, and feel a long and strong back bend here. Tops of your feet press down until your kneecaps lift. Chin parallel to the ground. And then lower down. Curl your toes under. Bring your hands next to your ribs. Come onto all fours from here. And then into down dog, lifting your tailbone high. Keeping a bend in your knees and an oomph in your arms here in our humble bow, as I like to call it. You'll empty your lungs in and walk your feet slowly forward to your hands. Hip distance with your feet. Inhale, lift your heart, hands to shins or ankles or even onto your thighs. Exhale, hinge at your hips, but keep the length in your spine as you fold in. And then inhale, rise, reach. Thumbs to the sky, a V. Stand in your bedrock, mountain pose, palms face out. Crown of your head extended towards the sky. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs or your shins or your ankles. Inhale, lift your heart, hands can slide up. Bend your knees, hands flat, step it to your downward facing dog. Keep that hook, lifting your hips high. And then inhale, shift towards your plank. Bring your knees to your mat. With your belly firm, Elbows brush your ribs, we lower all the way down onto the ground. Uncurl your toes and either take the Sphinx pose, that maybe bring your hands next to your floating ribs and let it be a cobra pose. Remember, no struggle in our neck, no pain in our low back. Lower down enough that you can curl your toes under, come through all fours, and then make your way into downward facing dog, lifting your hips, feeling the hook in your tailbone. Walk your feet forward to your hands. Inhale, lift your heart, hands to ankles, shins, or even up to your thighs. Exhale, increase the hinge at your hips. Your hands can slide down. Inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V, and then stand, palms face out. One more round just like that. Inhale, V shape, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Inhale, slide your hands up, lift your heart. And as you exhale, bend your knees and place your palms flat. Step it back into your down dog, oomping into your arms. Shift it to plank, shoulders over wrists, and then lower carefully your knees to your mat. Elbows brush your ribs as we lower all the way down onto our belly. Uncurl your toes and either make it Sphinx pose with your forearms down or keep your hands where they were for your cobra. Activate your legs by pressing into the tops of your feet. And then lower down enough to curl your toes under, come through all fours. And then with the hook in your tailbone, go to down dog, lifting your hips up and back. Walk your feet forward to your hands. Feet are hip distance, hands to ankles, thighs, shins. Uplift your heart as we inhale and then fold as we exhale. Inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V, and then stand in your mountain, palms face out. Proppage will now be blocks on either side of your mat. So I'm facing the short edge of my mat. I've got my two blocks situated not underfoot, off the sides of my mat so that they are within reach. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs or your shins or your ankles. Inhale, uplift your heart. Take your hands to your mat. Make your way to your down dog. From your down dog, lift your right leg behind you and then step it forward. Oftentimes it comes about halfway and you'll help it along. But your right foot is forward, you're on the ball of your back foot. I like to trot my blocks in tall on either side of my right foot, and then I look to find a very long spine. I'm steering my right hip back and my left hip forward. Left hand remains on my block, right arm to the sky, thumb to the sky, and I twist. Three moments. And in these 3 moments, I create space between my shoulders and my ears by spinning my inner upper arms away from each other, not collapsing towards, but away. Every inhale grows my spine long. Every exhale is a little gentle twist. 2 more moments. Now we'll unwind our right hand onto our block and then move those blocks off the sides of our mat to make our way back to our down dog. Remember, the hook in your tailbone is the priority. Then lift your left leg behind you and step it forward. Feel free to help it along if that's what it wants. And we will situate our blocks now on either side of our left foot and build it from the ground up. We're stamping into our left heel, swinging our left hip back a little bit, so not out to the side, but back a little bit. We're balanced on the ball of our back foot, our right foot. Right hand stays on your block, left arm up to the sky as we twist. Feel your inner upper arms spinning away from one another and creating that spaciousness between your shoulders and your ears. Stay and breathe for 3 more moments. And then unwind your left hand onto your block. Move your blocks out of the way so that you can step into your downward facing dog. And then slow motion, walk your feet forward to your hands. Inhale, hands to your ankles, your shins, your thighs. Exhale, fold back in. Remember, length in your spine. And then inhale, rise, reach. Thumbs to the sky, a V, and we stand, palms face out into our mountain. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands to your thighs, your shins, your ankles. Inhale, slide up as you lift your heart up. Bend your knees so your hands can go flat. Step back and feel the hook in your tailbone and your down dog. Lift your right leg back behind you. Step it forward, help it along if it wants it. And now trot your blocks to either side of that right foot. Turn your back foot flat, your left foot on its side, and start straightening that right leg with the longest spine you can bring to the equation. Press down into your right big toe mound. Feel the stretch into your right hamstring, maybe your right calf. 3 moments just in this nice, simple shape. I'll be silent so you can meditate. Keep your left hand on your block. Take your right arm to the sky, thumb to the sky, and we twist our pyramid. We're trying not to let that right hip swing out to the right. We want to try to tuck that back behind us as best we can. Inner upper arms spin away from each other. Space between our shoulders and our ears. Unwind, right hand onto your block. Spin on your back toes and bend your front knee so we're back to our lunge shape. Move your blocks off the sides of your mat, palms flat, hooked in your tailbone, downward facing dog. Your left leg lifts behind you, and then you step it through and trot your blocks into the mix. Turn your back foot flat, so now right foot flat, and begin to work your left leg towards straight. We're going slow. It's nice and slow and juicy, and we're finding all the stretches, all the feels. A few moments of silence in this simple shape. Adding our twist, our winding, twisting, right hand down and left arm up to the sky. Think of convincing your left hip back a little bit as opposed to having it swing out to the side. Find inner upper arms spinning away from each other. A few moments of silence in this shape. And then unwind your left hand onto your block. Bend your front knee as you spin onto your back toes. Move your blocks out of your way so that you can come into downward facing dog where you feel your Arms pushing the ground away and the hook in your tailbone lifting you away from your hands. Walk your feet forward. Inhale, lift your heart, and exhale, fold it in. Rise, reach, arms to the sky. Stand in your mountain, palms face out. A little bit of dynamic chair pose before we add a twist to that. So chair pose, sit down into your heels, thumbs to the sky, a V, and then stand it up and float your arms along your sides. Just like that. Chair pose, thumbs to the sky, and then stand and palms face out. 3 more times with our dynamics. Sit, thumbs to the sky, and then stand, palms face out. Twice more. Sitting, thumbs to the sky, and then palms face out as we stand. Sitting, thumbs to the sky. Standing up. This time, take your chair pose and pause. Bring a prayer in front of your heart. Turn to your right. Either stay upright just like this, or hinge at your hip and catch the outside of your left elbow on the outside of your right thigh. We're not struggling in our neck. Every inhale is growing us long, and every exhale is that little loving nudge into our twist. Now, if you have your elbow on the outside of your thigh, come upright in your twist, untwist so that you're center, and then stand up, arms to the sky, thumbs to the sky, and make your way into your mountain. You're going to feel a little heat in your legs and in your body. Second side of our twist, chair pose, thumbs to the sky, hands into a prayer, and then turn to your left. Totally great to stay upright like this, or hinge at your hip and catch your right elbow on the outside of your left thigh. Just 3 moments here where we're experimenting with growing taller as we inhale and just nudging a little bit into our twist as we exhale. And then come upright in your twist and unwind. Thumbs to the sky, we stand, and then float our arms along our sides, palms facing out. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Inhale, slide your hands up to uplift your heart. Bend your knees so that your palms go flat. Step it into your downward facing dog. Your hips are lifting. Shift it so that shoulders are over your wrists and bring your knees to your mat. Lower slowly to your belly. Either keep your hands here or make it sphinx as you uncurl your toes for a long, strong back bend. Lower down enough that you can curl your toes under and come through all fours. Stay on all fours. We come to a seated cross-legged position. You could do that upon one of your blocks if that's helpful. Let's cross our right shin in front of our left shin first. And as opposed to crossing at the ankles, walk it a little bit so that you have your feet underneath your knees and we're seated tall. We'll inhale our arms up to the sky and then turn to your right and take the back of your left hand to the outside of your right thigh and your right hand back behind you. Grow tall as you inhale and experiment with your twist a little bit as you exhale. I'll be silent for a full minute here in our seated cross-legged twist. Slowly unwind. Give your legs a little waggle out in front of you. And then cross your left shin in front of your right shin. If you want to sit up on something, feel free. Arms out and up as we inhale, thumbs to the sky. Turn to your left now and take the back of your right hand to the outside of your left thigh with your left hand back behind you. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, encourage the twist. 1 minute of silence here. And then unravel and pause, palms up or down. We started our practice seated to land, and we'll end our practice maybe just seated. You're welcome, of course, to lie down in our Shavasana final meditation, but let's let ourselves rest and digest. Let's take in and receive all the twists and turns of our practice so that when life's twists and turns find us, after we roll up our mat and head out into the day, we feel like we have a place we've created, body and mind, that allows us grace, easefulness. You're welcome to close your eyes or even just divert your gaze. Maybe you've decided to lie down. I'm going to be silent now for 2 minutes. If you're seated, just stay as you are. If you're lying down, you can reach your arms and legs away from one another for a stretch. Bend your knees into your chest and gently roll to either side. You'll come up and join us in our seat. And once you're there, let's all place our hands on our heart. Take this practice to heart so that we can share it with those we bump up against when we walk out into the winding currents of our lives. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I look forward to us doing it again together soon.